everybody. It's just me this week. I think that's crazy. But we got only so many people I can cover, and we're missing Liam terribly, but we're going to figure out a new schedule so we can all be here to do reviews. So it's just me this week. Barlord, I see you, and Triple B, thank you so much. And Phil, thanks for joining us. I'm so glad to be able to talk about comic books this week. There's a bunch of stuff. It's like a million covers to Batman #1. So I hope your pocketbook survives this week. It's a pretty serious thing. What else? Kids are back at school, I think, for everybody. I hope everyone had a really good weekend, a safe weekend. And I'm excited for the fall. We made some announcements for events we're going to have coming up. We've got our store anniversary sale coming, but also there's the Mark Spears blind bag drop that's going to come. Batman and Deadpool is on its way. There's some pretty big things happening, so I'm very excited about all that stuff. Oh, and local comic shop day. So there's a ton of things to be excited about as comic book people this week and coming soon. So you might have to start making a calendar for yourself for all that stuff. All right, you can see how messy my office is. Uh-oh, look at all this stuff. All right, let's talk about what came out this week. All right, this is the one book this week that I was kind of like, maybe I don't know something I need to know. Hey, Nick. Maybe there's something I need to know to enjoy this more. The art style is cool. I believe it's John Romita Jr., and if it's not, it is very reminiscent. I think it's supposed to be part of that era anyway, because it's 94. It's interesting because the beginning of this book introduces the action that's going on, gives you the lead in, but then it says, we'll fill in this information maybe eventually sometime. So I like that they tell you that it's not a book you've missed. Like, oops, don't worry. This one is very specifically, let me make sure I'm not mixing it up with the other, because there's another Spidey title this week. Sorry, y'all. Sometimes I have to look at it to make sure I'm doing the right thing. Okay, yeah. So this one is a really cool look at Kane. I don't know if you guys remember the character Kane from back then. Very cool. And this one puts Pete and Mary Jane in kind of an awkward position. So this is like right on top of all the clone time. So if you remember all the clone storylines that happened back at this time period, this supposedly happens right after when Pete has had interactions with a Mary Jane that is not his Mary Jane. As a matter of fact, he marries the Mary Jane that's not his Mary Jane. And so he's got some real like psychological damage. And this one not only talks about Kane, and there's like this big threat, almost feels like very like I'm going to suck your blood, but the spider way storyline for this one. But the more important storyline is that he's holding on to his heart bits because he has been crushed recently. And even though this is his Mary Jane who's come back and is interacting with him now, he just kind of feels like the shoe's going to drop. Maybe it's really not her, even though she says it's really her. And so I don't know. This leans in heavily to the idea of the Parker luck, and that it won't work out for him kind of deal. But then goes as a cool bad guy. I really like the bad guy stuff that happens in this book. But also the whole time that they are showing one of these characters, somebody that has like a big mask on, and they have like kind of this red hair, and they keep addressing them as a certain name, but I don't know, for some reason your brain is going to tell you, oh wait, maybe this is another Mary Jane something. because anytime you put red hair on somebody, you think that's what's going on. So it doesn't answer any of those questions, by the way. It's going to leave you hanging, and I guess that's good. But as far as the 2 Spideys that dropped this week, the other one is a lot more meaty, I guess, probably because it's got 3 stories in it. But this one, if you're nostalgic for this era of Spider-Man, will feel real cool. I think maybe after I've been for quite a while, maybe in the main books for Spider-Man and also in the Ultimate Spider-Man, seeing a more healthy, not always, like psychologically damaged Pete. Maybe that's why I'm going, oh man, I don't want to go back there. We just got out of that storyline. So I don't know, maybe if you need damaged Peter back, then this is the book for you. And it has a really cool cartoon style. It's not the normal comic book style that the rest of the books have been having. So give that one a try. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's so good. All right. If you've not been reading any of the It's Jeff stuff, you might rethink such a thing. Although I have seen a ton of, interestingly enough, young teens to college folks coming into the store, I think driven by the fact that he's a really cool character in the Rivals game. So I have people coming in for the new releases all the time. So they're loving them. I don't know if they're going to look at this one when it's not just focused on him alone. But this one's got many, many multiple stories. It's just like usual where it kind of breaks up, even if it's one story kind of arc, it breaks it up into 4-page bits. And there's a really cute story with Jeff, and he's eating grapes, and there is a blue jay, I think it was a blue jay, that is determined to take them. And that whole back and forth between them is so cute. And also it has a part where it looks like Jeff is getting money from people for eating their spare trash. And then he has all that money and he uses it to go buy something, which is so cute. And then there's a whole story arc featuring I think it's Throg and the Loki, who's the alligator. And then another whole storyline featuring the kitties from all of the superheroes, like Bucky's kitty, and there were a lot of them I didn't even know existed. It's clear there's a Flurkin because you can see him right at the very top there. And then I don't know, that big cat, I feel like I've missed the storyline where that big purple cat was introduced. He looks really cool. Obviously way bigger than a Flurkin. But you might really enjoying just a real fun fluff piece where it's not going to have a lot of stress for you. Plus it's really cute. And if you like drawing things, this would be a fun place to just lay it out and practice drawing what you see on the page. It's pretty simple art. Not that it was simple to make, but simple to try to replicate. They just need to give in and call it It's Cute, the book. Right? Maybe so. I think that might be, I could be down with them doing only books like this, which are very low word count books also, because they are probably fun to read with your kids, because it's just there's, Jeff never talks. He only has sound effects. You just kind of have to get the story from them. And they leaned into that part of it for the rest of the storylines also, because there's been other Jeffs where his parts are not non-talking, but then there's a bunch of people in them that talk. This leans more, since it's pets, it leads more into the non-talking part. So also love that part. Okay, this is where I'm going to show my weakness for knowing things about the Shi'ar, or however you say their cool names. So the Imperial War is interesting because in the main Imperial storyline, the last issue actually gave away the what's happening behind the scenes. But now they're filling in the parts where there are a great many beings they're still actively at war, not knowing who is behind the scenes, kind of like pushing that along. This one deals with specifically the fact that there are a few beings that are saying that they have they're the rightful heirs to the throne. And this one really kind of works through all of those bits. And it doesn't touch a bunch to any of the other characters until the very end. It touches back into like, how does this fit in the bigger storyline as it pertains to other, like, we'll call them spacefaring heroes. And it's cool because if you don't know the history of Prof X and I think it's Leandra and their daughter, and how all of those characters tie together, this is a pretty good way for them not to be like, this is Prof X, and Leandra got married, and then they had blah, blah, blah. So you don't need that. It's just part of the storyline that you kind of figure all of that out. But if you don't want to go back and read all the books from the 90s, here you go. Oh, and by the way, sorry, I forgot to tell you, the name Exiles here is important because I know you guys have kind of glommed on to the fact that there is soon all of the X books are going to change their names. So it looks like relaunch for everything. So Exiles, which previously has been a comic book in the X titles, this title Exiles gets explained how that's going to launch into the Exiles title. So the Exiles comic book that's coming is immediately impacted by this book series. So there you go. All right, here's the one that's really long this week. It's kind of interesting when they do this because Amazing Spider-Man kind of just restarted again, and it's been blowing off of our shelves. Like really, really has been popular at our shop. And whenever they get to legacy numbers that are kind of like big, 950, 975, 1000, those kinds of numbers, they like to go back and do legacy numbering and kind of make a bigger, thicker book out of it. And that's what happens in this book. So I'm going to actually open it up so I can tell you all 3 storylines. The thing that you do need to know is it does tie into all the storylines that have been happening recently. If you read the Beyond storyline in which Ben Reilly gets tapped by the company called Beyond, who owns the rights to Spider-Man. He somehow didn't trademark himself, so he can no longer wear the suit and fly around, whatever, or swing around. So that storyline is integral to what you see here. And it also goes back and touches on the storyline that happened last, which was the 8 Deaths storyline. When we see the beginning of this book, you have actually Pete on another planet? Where? Another planet, which is kind of interesting, is because we haven't known where he is. We only know from the beginning of the book that there have been 2 people out claiming to be Spider-Man. And it tells you pretty much right away in the first 4 pages of this who one of them is. And then the other one, they leave until the very end of the book to tell you. But neither of them is Peter Parker. I'll give you that. Yeah, that's okay. You can come in as any character you want today, Eddie. So the cool thing is that through all of this storytelling, you end up with a new costume for Pete. How he gets it and from where is so unique. I cannot wait for you guys to read the storyline. I'm not going to mess that up at all for you. I will just tell you that the big long story arc that's the main Spider-Man story arc here is really great. And who are the 2 Spider-Men does get answered for you. They don't leave it hanging out, so you don't know what the answer is. And then there is another storyline that comes right after it by writer Saladin Ahmed. called Rapid Return, which seems to actually introduce a new character. If it's not new, it's a character I'm totally unfamiliar to me. But that's only a very short storyline. It's probably 4 or 5 pages long. And then it's followed immediately after that with this really, really cute storyline. It's an artist named Lee Gatlin, which I think they've been doing cover art with Lee. It's the stuff that looks like not quite Scotty Young. It's more stick figurey, or skinny, I guess. I don't know how to describe his art. It's really cute, but it's not like chibi the way we're used to Scotty. It's like if you mix that together with my friend Justin. Oh, my brain is going to not give me his last name all of a sudden. Harden, who did the end credits for the first Deadpool movie. It's Justin Harder. That style. Remember the kind of like the red Deadpool with riding the unicorn and stuff? That kind of style. And it's a really cute storyline where Spider-Man is having a long discussion with the Thing. They're hanging out in the Fantastic Car. And it's about food and food flavors. And that one kind of is so super silly. So if you are like, okay, well, the other 2 storylines were kind of heavy, I want something, maybe they're doing that on purpose. Maybe that's the palate cleanser for you after you read the last page of the first story. And you're like, what just happened there? So anyway, that one I know is a bigger read this week and a little more expensive on your pocketbook, but it is probably a great place to jump in if you've been like, oh, I forgot to start this series when it started at 1. This is a great place to start because it has everything you need from before it to understand what's happening in this. Or you can just use what I just told you. Oh my gosh, this is just a wonderful, beautifully told, very scary art book. I'm going to tell you fairly little about it because there's so much about it that is revealed in the storytelling, and that is the magic of the book. This is called Everything Dead and Dying, and I will tell you it's from the point of view of a dad. The book introduces him, his husband, and their adopted, maybe not adopted, maybe they used a surrogate for their little girl. And he says, kind of in passing, that it always is the same. Like this part, he says, this part's always the same. This part always happens. This part's always the same. And so the first time through, it's him having a breakfast, sending his daughter off to school, him saying that he's going to go out. He's a farmer. His family has always been farmers. He's going to go out and do the farming, and he's proud of that heritage. And then kind of weirdly, after the farm day is done, he kind of feels like he wakes up, and you see that there's a different kind of reality that's going on. The cow is a big hint as to what's going on. So you may have seen maybe the pitch to this actually gives away some of that stuff. But I don't know the answer to that. And it just has a number 1 on the front. Sometimes they have of something, but it doesn't say on my end. I'm so sorry. I'll have to find that out for you. But this one is a very, I don't want to say sweet, but I'll say it is kind of a heartbreaking reality that this guy finds himself in. And I highly recommend it, but not if you are easily spooked, I guess. It's great. I mean, I'm definitely going to read the next issue. I cannot wait to find out what happens next, honestly. Beautiful art. Okay, this one is a little bit different for me. I don't know what I read. That is not me saying hashtag not that bad. I'm just telling you 100%. I am not 100%. I don't know for sure what is going on. This girl on the front cover looks like she's asked to do a science experiment, like where they're like, you guys know in Community where they do the experiment where they just put a bunch of people in one room and keep telling them like the experiment's going to start in 5 minutes. And then there's only one character that just sits there forever and actually makes the scientific team break down instead of what's supposed to happen, which is they're all supposed to give up and walk away. They're supposed to see how long it takes people to leave. But he goes for, the whole day. Sounds like a Community episode. That's right. This one's not like that, but it is kind of like we are asking you to come, and they bring the birds. They bring her, I think her, could be they. I don't remember them using any pronouns for this one. Bring them into a room with a bunch of pigeons in it and say, sit here. And then, I can't remember how long. And then when they come back to them and pull them back out, very confused about whether it's like nothing really happened. The pigeons did pigeony things, and that's all I know. Well, I'll tell you it's not really very spoilery. It's going to be the hook for you, okay? So what they tell her is that it doesn't feel like anything happened. The pigeons are still pigeoning, but the room started with 50 pigeons, and now there are 53. So, and they say that whatever's happening is completely centered around her. They pulled her specifically because this event is happening that they've noticed. I don't think it's only birds, but it is terrifying. Whatever is going on, I really, movies and books and stuff like that, Stephen King's the best at this, where there's something wrong, something off, something dimensionally trippy, something's crazy. But you don't know. You just kind of watch it in real time. What? So this is a mystery that's going to be unraveled that is very psychological, sci-fi, but no space. I don't know. It's trippy. Might give you nightmares. This one's so cute. I'm not usually a Monster High girl, but this one, for the first time, I was like, this is so adorable. So this is House Haunters. If you're not familiar with Monster High, it's a bunch of girls who are also like Universal Monsters or Universal Monsters adjacent. Like some of them are vampires, some of them are mummy stuff. I don't have the dolls. I'm sorry, I don't know their names. I know the one's named Claudine, and she's a wolf. She's a werewolf. But they don't act like their things, other than they're kind of like, if you like the show Wednesday, where everyone's a little bit creepy, you'll like it. But it's neat. They change a lot of the language about things. So I wish I could remember one of them where they just like change the names of like normal everyday stuff to put the word kind of like spook in it or whatever. So cute. But anyway, they are going to this Airbnb cabin because it's promised to be extra spooky or haunted or something. And so they arrived and they're very disappointed when they get there that it doesn't look like a spooky house. It doesn't look like a scary house. So they try to spook it up. I think they do some property damage, honestly. They rip up the curtains. That kind of bothers me because my mom, don't do that. But anyway. And it does get more spooky toward the end. But yeah, if you like the dolls and you like the spooky stuff, you're looking for something that's just a little more spooked up than Scooby-Doo, then perfect. It's a perfect marriage of Barbie and Scooby-Doo. Monster mashing. And their outfits are cute. All right, here we are at Batman by Matt Fraction. Matt Fraction. You guys been waiting for this one, huh? Is this one the one you are like, oh please, oh please, oh please be good? All right, so this is what I know about it without opening the book. I know that Shanice, who you guys like listening to in the show, she's got good advice about things. I know that she said she read the first issue and was like, that was pretty good. I don't know if it was spectacular. It was pretty good. And then she got access to issue number 2. So she's read number 1, number 2, and number 3, I think. She said that it gets really ramped up in 2 and 3. So if you end up reading this first one and are kind of like, okay, well, I needed more from a launch, then don't worry, it's coming. Okay, so in this Batman look, you have got no longer Commissioner Gordon. It looks like Commissioner Gordon has retired or been forced out. I'm not certain, but now he's just a beat cop, which is interesting. I think that's very interesting. And there is like a creature. I think I can probably tell you who it is. I'm sure it's actually listed. But this is really specifically about Killer Croc as a bad guy. It's mostly about their interaction together, which is really, really great because you see Batman be able to have kind of compassion. He's more thoughtful in his approach and not as punchy about it. Because the doctor who's been kind of like watching over him, the Killer Croc himself, she's been seeing changes in him. Not just psychological changes, but like some interesting physical changes. Like, what'd she say? It's like doing almost like when a reptile sheds. There's like something else going on. And it's such a good story because I like stories that get down to like the character, like what makes the character special or unique, or the why a bad guy is the way they are, or maybe lets you see in their head a little bit for how they're thinking about things that maybe they aren't. Like if you know Kingpin's inside thought process is probably that he's a really bad guy, or Lex. But also they have other things they're working on. You don't think it'll be bad. Hope it's 20 covers good. Yeah. Oh, and the new commissioner is very, very interesting. I don't know if I'm going to give that away for who that is, honestly. But the title for the storyline is Vast Colors in the Dark, which is cool. It does introduce like some weird scissor toting bad guys that are maybe Joker related. They're like trying to cut these girls physically. And the other thing that's interesting is there's like this there are in almost all of the panels, or a lot of the panels, these blue butterflies, and I'm not 100% certain what they are, but I know that you don't put that many blue butterflies in a book if they don't have a purpose. So pay attention for that. And also, they do a cool thing in the story where when he uses weapons or his car or anything like that, it does the cool, like where it has the block and it says what the weapon is and what it does. And I think that is really cool. Like he has a big power up in his fists that I like. So I think it's a great start. I think it doesn't have the same kind of impact as you got from maybe Absolute Batman, where it was so different that it socked you in the face and you were like, oh, this is crazy. And it kept going that way. I think this one's a great introduction to characters and let you know what's different about this Batman from the way Batman has acted in the past. And I think it's going to draw a lot of people in. As George Jimenez's art is really exceptional for this. So I think you're safe to buy your mini covers because I think this is what's going to happen. This is my honest opinion. I think number 1's going to come out. People are going to say it was okay. And then number 2 is going to come out, and then everyone's going to say, oh my gosh, this is the best thing. And people are going to try to find number 1s. And number 1s might be in short supply then. So just that's the way my inkling is it's going to happen. So don't miss out on getting at least one. I don't want you to get stuck without having one to be able to read. So. Okay, and this one was super cool. Oh, Spanish pronunciation of George Jorge. I have good inklings. I try. I've been only very occasionally wrong about what my gut says about books. Okay, Adventures of Lumen N. I don't know what kind of pitch this thing got when it was being solicited, so I don't know how much anybody knows about it. But this gets introduced as this, it almost looks Mayan. Like it starts out the camera shot starts way far out where it just kind of shows you this thing kind of like it's almost part of a big rock outcropping, but it got this kind of like a temple look, and it gets closer and closer and closer and closer. You get to see inside, and then there's like something sitting in a chair which doesn't look human, and then the thing that's in the chair opens up and reveals something. You have no idea what it is, and then because it immediately drops into something about this little girl, and it does a great job of giving us good character development for her, and because her name is Lumen, and it's clear that she's kind of a precocious person. She's supposed to be doing her studies. Her caretaker keeps on telling her that you need to go do your studies. She's asking why do I need to learn all of these different languages and all of these sciences and these maths and things more than a normal kid her age should be expected to learn. And they keep telling her it's because your dad wants it to be so. She says, I don't ever see my dad. So the big reveal on the last page of this is that who her grandfather is. And once you figure out who her grandfather is, you go back and you look at the name of this book and you go, oh, now I get it. Because otherwise it seems like a really kind of like Lumen N, what? So it's the N last name that is the important thing for this one. And it's a very cool, different start to a book series that I like. It's very neat. Weirdly, I think that's all the books I've got to review. Oh no, this one. I've been waiting for this one for a long time. So they gave us review copy or something, a PDF or something of this way back in February. So I've been sitting on this information for a long time. So Chip Zdarsky, you already know that this guy is on fire. He knows what he's writing about. He doesn't write just boring whatevers. He just opens up cans of worms and says, well, I'm going to tell you this story because it's what I want to tell right now. So this story takes place in probably near future, I'm guessing, in which the White House employs robots for positions like baker or cook, which is the one in the white outfit down there at the bottom very clearly is wearing chef's outfit. That chef's outfit. And then the one above, kind of like holding them, is one of the security robots. Was I think literally called Security One or something. And this is all about the president has either on purpose incited a problem that he's going to use in order to have an excuse to raid Canada, which is funny because Zdarsky's Canadian. Or there's actually something going on that has, like, someone had attacked him, I think. And so they believe that they've actionable information that he actually was attacked with them knowing. So he's like, well, this is going to happen. So you know that that's kind of an impending part of the storyline, that they are going to go across and attack. So he's extra mindful of his own, like that people might try to make more attacks on him. So he's got all of his security detail ramped up big time. But in the middle of all of this action, because Security One, I think I'm going to be mad if the S is the wrong word, but anyway, we're going to call him Security One for a while. So Security One took a bullet for the president in this attack that we're talking about. And so because of that, he might not be on his A game anymore. They're worried. And so there are circumstances under which he might have become obsolete. The problem is that there is like a underground movement that is actually trying to infiltrate kind of like the inner workings of the White House, and either it's unclear if they're trying to poison him or reprogram the robots or something. Anyway, they're trying to figure out some way to get at him to prevent whatever's going down. And then it is exactly what the title tells you. There's no spoilers about that. There's a White House robot romance that occurs, in which they then kind of like, I don't know what to call it, overwrite their programming. But anyway, they find ways around it to try to get out of there. And that's very interesting also. So this is a really great read. It's a long book. I know you guys have like maybe gotten to the point where you're like, oh, where am I gonna put these oversized books? Get yourself a magazine-sized box and put them in them, and then it'll be just fine. But this is a great read. Or you can just, this is going to be kind of seem like heresy, you can treat these like novels in which you just buy them to read them, and then you don't worry about keeping them. I know that sounds crazy town. Hey, Eric, welcome in. All right, and that's in the comic books reviews, but I know there's a ton of graphic novels. So I'm going to show you all the graphic novels that we have this week. There are a ton more of the really awesome compact comics. We've been talking a lot to DC about. We've been really selling a lot of these books because they're a good price point of $10. They're a good size. So if you're going to travel or go to the beach or wherever, they're an easier book size to carry than a full-size graphic novel. And they're also very easy to read. It's not a problem of that the letters are really tiny. They've kind of figured out how to make it make sense for the sizes. So this week, there's some really great ones. Batman Arkham Asylum by Grant Morrison. More recent, Tom Taylor's Deceased, which we have seen a lot of people coming in and picking up those books recently. And Darwin Cook's and Ed Brubaker's Catwoman, Trial of Catwoman. And that book series is terribly hard to put together. It's expensive because of the really great artwork covers kind of in the middle of the series. There are a bunch of them by Adam Hughes, and that gets really expensive to try to do. Also, this one is probably the only way you can get this material anymore without having to pay a bunch of money, because all the Tron material that Marvel put out was snatched up and put into collections that people aren't letting go of, or was a short run or something. But here's your chance. You can get Tron downloaded, which gives you original movie adaptation 1 and 2 and Tron Betrayal 1 and 2, both written by Peter David and Jai Nitz, and illustrated by 2 others. This one is a really good opportunity. Did Batman Year 100 come out in that size? I don't think I've seen it. I don't know that we'd order every single one. So we might have missed a few. And I know a lot of people have been waiting for this baby to come out. We've been selling Ultimate Spider-Man individual graphic novels like crazy. So Don't miss your chance to get Ultimate Wolverine, because those have been so good. I've enjoyed that a lot. And Oni has started to put out these really cool compact comics also. See, Oni's paying attention to what we like for size. So since almost all the Adventure Time graphic novels are out of print and hard to find, here you go. Here is the issues 31 through 34, 46 through 49, 54 through 57. That's a good gigantic chunk. I know people are still interested in the Invincible compact sizes. Here's your chance to get volume 11. From Image Comics, they did a great job of collecting this series, Juvenile 1 through 5. They put it into this nice compact size also. And this one, if you're looking for what kind of genre it is, it's definitely science fiction, young adult, and dystopian. All right, this is exactly what it sounds like. You might find this at your local comic shop. It's called Pizza Witch. This one is an Image book, not previously from another collection. This is like an original graphic novel. It's adorable. Also, I hope your local comic shop has a really cool little golden book spinner or a place to put little golden books, because they're coming out with some really terrific ones right now. They have finally dropped a Tron little golden book. And now that they're back from doing their service for the country, BTS, I think they've got all of those guys back. They've also done a new print of Iron Man Demon in a Bottle, which has been out of print for quite a while. Don't sleep on this. I have a feeling that this is going to sell out quickly, and I'm going to have to order it again. X Factor Know Your Enemy comes out this week. JSA, this one is Infinity Incorporated versus the Justice Society, the Lamar run. This one sold really well as individual books. Get volume 1. Oh, this is volume 2 of the Power Fantasy, very successful series out of Image. Also new this week is Daredevil, the Man Without Fear to Dare the Devil Epic Collection book. This is a volume 8 of the series and puts together Daredevil 155 through 176. I know you guys love this series by Tom King called Love Everlasting. I think they actually announced that this is in development in some way. That's the volume 3 coming out this week. Also, volume 1 of the Autumn Kingdom. There's another Oni Press book out of our friends at Ghost Machine Image. Hornsby and Halo first volume is releasing this week. And also Sam Wilson, Captain America. This is the Better Angels storyline. I'm sure there's a million more graphic novels. We went pretty heavy this time and got you a bunch of goodies so that you have lots of selection out there. And that is all I have to give you reviews on this week. I'm hoping to have Shanice back next week or the week after. We'll be able to pile more books to review so you guys get more information. Also, if you ever guys have any questions, please feel free to contact me. If you have a book you'd like me to start reviewing that I don't usually, please let me know. I'm happy to lean into whatever your favorite thing is if you want to know early about it. Try not to spoil anything, but give you enough information to know how to spend your dollars. Make sure that you use comicshoplocator.com or Google to find local comic shops near you. You should start checking on them to see what they're going to be doing for local comic shop day. We're going to, here on The Experience, have a huge online presence. We are the broadcast channel for the day. We'll have tons of interviews, live streams from comic book shops that are having live signings, and the like. So that is a definite day to be paying attention and putting on your calendar, letting your friends know that are thinking about getting into comic books. It's the right time. Thanks, guys, so much for putting up with just my voice today. Jay, you got some more information?
I sure do. So we got a little bit of a different schedule going on this week. Next up, of course, we have Welcome to Wonderland with Rich Davis and AJ. No Henri tonight, but tomorrow, 7 Eastern, 6 Central, you got the 1 hour of comic collecting power with Rex and comic collectibles. Then at 9 Eastern, at 8 Central, it's not a Kyle and Jay Q&A. It's Kicking It with Henri. He's going to be doing his show tomorrow in that spot. Then Thursday, 7 Eastern, 6 Central, you have What's in the Box with Miss Jen.
Horror. Horror this week.
Oh, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Going to be some good stuff, y'all. Make sure you check that show out. 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central, you got the Geek Chat. Then at 10 Eastern, 9 Central, you have Sketch Up with Mog and Mel. And then Friday, y'all, 1 Eastern, noon Central, On Order Up, the Final Order Cutoff show with Matthias. He is going to be talking to Jason Favak.
Oh, yes!
Super excited to watch this one, folks. The art in this book, if you've never looked at Rook, the art in this book is just amazing. This guy is just awesome. Then, of course, at 7 Eastern, 6 Central, you got the original art show with Nick. Then to round out the night at 9 Eastern, 8 Central, you have Friday Night Live with Nancy and the crew from Comics Unlimited.
Oh, and just as a top secret, don't tell anybody, I'm trying really hard to get for one of our shows, whether it's going to be on Final Order Cutoff or somewhere else, Tyler Main, who is Sabretooth, has a book coming out. So I'm excited to try to do that. I know he's calling me, which makes me a little bit crazy in my head, but so I'm going to pitch it to him to come on to one of our shows so you guys can have a chat with him. Yeah, but Justin's on Facebook reminding us. One of my friends, Randy Myers at Collector's Corner, passed this last week, and his community is very sad to not have him anymore. He was a great comic book store owner, and he gave it all, his all, man. He really did. He had a heart for his community, and I had lots of behind-the-scenes talks with him about him just really trying his darndest to make it work really well for you guys. So show love to his staff and those keeping his legacy going. So thanks, guys. I appreciate you so much. I will see you guys next week. Bye.